What if I told you 70% of your employees are not engaged? The alarming fact is, this is the engagement level in the United States today. You might ask, well, what does this mean to my organization? Our research has shown up to 35% of your payroll is possibly being spent and wasted on unproductive labor. And why is it so important to have engaged employees? They are 4 times more productive than actively disengaged employees. As we all know, our industry is changing every single day. Whether it's competition from the online marketplace or extreme low-cost operators, our future depends on how we adapt to these changes over the next several years. Each side represented here today, retailers, CPGs, and distributors, must have a crystal clear approach and vision to achieve success. We believe the main avenue for your organization to achieve success is through your employees. As our good friend and leader Jim Lee says, people matter, and your people will be the differentiator needed to achieve success in the near future. Before I introduce our team, I'd like each of you to pause and think about the many challenges our industry will face over the next 10 years. Is your company ready for these challenges? Are you ready for these challenges? And most importantly, are the people in your organization ready for these challenges? Do they know how important they are to the success of your organization? I'd like to now introduce our team, Team Recipe for Engagement. Aaron Landau, Myers Group, LLC. Gary Okamoto, Safeway. Cipriano Valencia, Costco Wholesale. Leslie Villanueva, Food for Less. Bridget Wolick, Fry's Food Stores. And I'm James Wells of Pepsi Beverages Company. Today, we're here to share with you our ingredients to a successful employee engagement recipe. The best part of our recipe is it doesn't break the bank, and it's something you can start on right away. First step is emotional intelligence and how it is important for each leader to have the intelligence needed. Also, the need for additional educational opportunities. And finally, the technology needed to bridge the gap between leadership and the front line.
So James just shared some very important information of our industry. Well, I'm here to tell you and put it in perspective on why is this so important. According to Gallup studies, for every $10,000 that we spend in payroll, it costs us $3,500 in disengaged employees. They also say that a highly engaged employee is most likely to stay with the company, 6 to 8 times higher, reducing turnover. That's about 60% reduced turnover. It also increases by 2 times customer loyalty. And companies with highly engaged employees can earn up to 3 times profits over their competitors. So why are we talking about employee engagement today? Why is it so important that we talk about it today? Because in 10 years, 75% of our workforce is going to be millennials. 2 things about millennials. They love technology. But most important, they love to be engaged. As James said, our industry changes every single day. Online services are emerging as a force. If we don't engage our employees now, we're going to lose a lot of good employees, the millennials, educated, highly engaged. So I ask you, start a program about employee engagement. So where do we start? It starts at the top, our leaders. Our leaders have to start a culture of employee engagement. And also understand, as leaders, we are always on stage. Our behaviors, the way we speak, the way we carry ourselves, sends a powerful message to our employees. The shadow of a leader touches every employee in our organization. So I ask you, what does your shadow cast to your employees? Is it positive? Is it negative? Ask yourself that. So now, I would like to quote a famous author, Warren Venus. He said, a leader doesn't just get the message across. He is the message. So now, I'd like to get Gary with our first ingredient, EI.
People always ask me what I do for a living. And when they do, I often tell them what I've done and how long I've worked for. They always ask, how did you work there for so long, for 16 years? And I tell them, because of the amazing opportunities I had, but more importantly, the leadership that took the time to develop and engage me. So, you may ask, how do my leaders do this? Well, it's simple. Let me start with a story. I remember the time when I was promoted to store manager. Such an amazing event. Working through all the positions of courtesy clerk, cashier, food clerk, night stock manager, assistant manager, and finally to get store manager. Such an amazing event for me. And on this day, former president of NorCal Division, Carl Schroeder, took the time to write me a personalized letter, congratulating me on my monument event, more importantly, thanking me for all the things that I had done in my career. So impactful, it would always last a lifetime. And how can your leaders do this? It's easy. It's with emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence was described by American psychologist Daniel Goleman, who defines by 5 different attributes. First is self-awareness, to know how your emotions are, to know how they interact with others. Self-regulation, how your emotions don't take control of you. You need to be able to be aware of them and how they interact with others. Motivation, how to motivate others, how to motivate your staff. You have to keep energized. Empathy, you need to know how your emotions interact and affect others. And finally, social skills. Everybody wants that interaction, whether it's above you, below you, or people all around you. It's very important. So again, why should you guys do emotional intelligence? It's very easy. It's for making a lot of money. Partners high in EQ responsible for $1.2 million more in profit when a consulting firm did a study. In addition, Coca-Cola seen a 15% increase amongst sales division leaders when they did practice EQ. And finally, L'Oreal's sales team, EQ was higher, so all the sales reps did 91,000 above goal. Such an amazing event to your bottom line. So, how do you guys get started? Well, it's really simple. First, you need to know where your organization is at. Then you need to focus on it and develop training programs that help develop and foster this. I know a lot of you in here have programs already. So if you do, you need to reinvigorate them and refocus them. This is the way you will train your leadership and prepare them for the millennial shift that is coming. So now, I challenge you to go back to your organization and start this. And now, for our next ingredient, I'd like to introduce Leslie with education.
Education. Education is an investment, and it's one of the most critical investments you can make. Our great late leader, Nelson Mandela, said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." To prepare our industry for the challenges of tomorrow, we need to use education to confront those challenges. The more educated our industry is, the more engaged they will be. The latest USA Census tells us that in the food industry, 17% of our associates has a bachelor's degree versus 30% nationwide. Today, we will begin to change those percentages. We already have the ingredients we need to advance that food industry through education and leadership. We will start by utilizing the Retail Management Certificate. Currently, only 1% of our associates are enrolling in the program. The Retail Management Certificate was the bridge for one of my team members, Erin, to be here today in the FIM program. I am also a graduate from that program. My experience started with a few of us taking a few classes. This motivated 80% of my team to enroll in that program. They are all on track to graduate this year. A study by the Ransdom Institute shows that using education to engage our employee ranked 4th as the most powerful tool. It is so important for us as leaders to encourage our members to sign up. Statistically, 95% of the associates enrolled in the program are working full-time, and 79% of those associates will pursue additional education. Again, for us, it is so important to support the program. We need to encourage our associates to sign up to these programs. We need to support them. By signing up through education, we will give them that courage, and we will challenge them, and they will have the courage to take the next steps. Our industry will benefit from these associates because they will be more prepared for the future. And studies show that they will be 31% more productive. It starts with us. I am challenging each one of you to become a champion of education. My team is committed to be champion of education. Are you ready? Through education, we will change the future of our industry. Now, for our next ingredient, Bridget.
We have many current engagement methods. A Harvard Business study showed that the top 2 include weekly recognition, showing your associates that they're appreciated, and also communicating your strategy and goals of your company, which makes your associates' job more clear as far as their expectations and how they relate to your business. However, despite these being very, very important ways for us to engage with our employees, we haven't made a lot of progress. So now's the fun part. We need to utilize technology. This is especially important when you consider the fact that our workforce is changing in the future. As you can see, we're going to bring up a few different types of new technologies that you can use to engage with your associates. Gamification, which is applying typical game elements to non-gaming activities, such as earning badges or rewards. Open source, which is also called a think tank, where you're generating ideas from all of your employees, as well as the most exciting one, a personalized holographic message. Gamification on the slide shows that roughly 50% of men and women game daily. Obviously, this would be an easy thing for our associates to adapt. No, we're not necessarily encouraging people to be slacking off all day, but why not make work fun? Utilizing gamification in an industry like ours could be very simple. You can make it into an app, it can be developed into your company dashboard, or whatever portal you use to communicate currently. Gamification, again, adds fun to jobs. It encourages task completion, it makes people have more competition, and it also creates them to complete their jobs faster, which makes our companies more productive. Open source is an originally software technology term. It was referred to when companies needed help completing software. They'd open it up to the online community to help them fix the bugs. So why, as an industry, wouldn't we want to open up our bugs or questions and interests to our entire bank of associates out there? So implementing an open source think tank is very simple also. Basically, you just adapt it into the same dashboard or app or portal that you currently use. There are studies out there that if you use technology correctly to engage your associates, one of the highest rated ones is, again, idea generation. Your associates are on the front lines. They know how to make things better. And it also shows your company and our industry's commitment to inclusion and showing to them that we value them. Holographic messages. This one is extremely exciting, and I want you to visualize 10 years in the future, your associate, what's the best time to reach her? Right when she's clocking into work. She probably is going to end up using her smartphone to clock in biometrically. Immediately, a message pops up that's 3D and in color and is talking to her. It's a message from her store manager of thanks, of appreciation, or other information, such as customer comments. Holographic messages could also be used by a unit manager or a CEO or a president to reach lots and lots of your associates. Again, picture this. You walk into clock in as an hourly employee, and you clock in, your face is lit up because you have this amazing communication directly in front of you. It's actually happening, and it's actually an ability for you to engage differently with different shifts and with long-ranging associates. Let me show you an example, and again, use your imagination.
Hi, Olivia. I just wanted to let you know, great job. You got a 100% on your mystery shop this week. I appreciate your hard work, and I'm very proud of you. Thank you, and I'll see you on the floor.
Good morning, team. 3 things I want to share with you today. Number 1, sales were up 10% last week during a holiday week. Phenomenal job. Number 2, be sure to stop by your location's health fair and get your flu shot. Number 3, be sure to go online and enroll in the Retail Management Certificate Program. See you guys soon.
Thank you. Aaron, why don't you summarize our recipe, please?
Wow, thank you, Bridget. Today started with the need to use emotional intelligence and learn to adapt and change with the changing workforce. And Gary shared such a powerful story about how his leader saw potential and truly believed in him. And with a simple note and a few kind gestures, little did he know, not only would it change his career, but his life for the years to come. And Leslie stressed the need to prioritize education and make it less of a rarity and more the norm. And finally, Bridget is teaching us to utilize technology needed to bridge the gap between owners, CEOs, and managers to connect directly with their employees around the globe. With our recipe, we are asking for little effort for big reward. If up to 35% of our current payroll is funding disengaged employees, that leaves a lot of room for opportunity. Study shows with increasing engagement by as little as 5%, you may see yearly revenues increase by up to 3%. The facts are in front of us. If you are waiting for the time to seize the opportunity, the time is now. We as an industry and the leaders in this room have the opportunity and almost the obligation to create an image going forward that the positions and the people within our company still truly matter. Business insiders and forecasters predict 30 to 40% of us will not even exist within 10 years. Let us be the reason today those numbers don't come true. And finally, let it be clear, our employees are and will always be the drivers of our business now and into the future. There is not any other investment we can currently make that will have a bigger impact on our businesses than investing directly into your employees. We as a team on this stage believe in the people. The people in this room, the people on this stage, and each employee located back at each company. These are the differentiators needed to continue to have success for many years to come. With the use of emotional intelligence, prioritizing education, let us commit today that that becomes more the normal. And finally, let us utilize technology to bridge the gap. And with these methods, you will continue success for many years to come. At this time, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending our presentation and open the floor for questioning. Thank you.
Well, great job, you guys. It's so important to think about employees and engagement. You know, it's one thing to talk about this. Did you guys give any thought to how you measure a company's improvement on the subject of employee engagement? And did you think about it in various levels of the organization? Because you can think at the top you're engaged or you have employee engagement, but what do you think companies should do to really measure whether they're improving or not?
Most companies have some type of employee engagement survey that they perform either annually or every other year. Obviously, that's going to be the easiest measurement for you to gauge where you currently stand. And you're absolutely right, there is a difference sometimes when you've made it to the top, so to speak, versus when you're still in a frontline operation type role. But bottom line, those are the people that we need to focus on. Our leaders up here are already engaged. We come to work every day driven and want to succeed and want to see the business grow. So by surveying your employees and implementing new techniques, that's how you're going to make a difference and end up raising that engagement level for your company.
Great job, really interesting. I really like the idea of the gamification. Did you research any companies that are already doing that or any companies seeing results from that?
Actually, yes. There are companies, specifically like Google, that are utilizing gamification. There isn't necessarily a grocery industry area that I was able to find, but they've had great results. People, again, are more effective. They're having more fun while they're performing their tasks, as well as, again, earning reward points or badges. They want to show off to their friends sometimes where they've made it happen. So.
Excellent. Really love the presentation. Just a suggestion on the gamification. I'm involved with a group that uses it very effectively in health and wellness, in their health and wellness plan, using, you know, how many steps did you take, how much sleep did you get? So just a suggestion. I think it's something that our group here could implement immediately and not only get benefit and engagement of employees, but certainly increase our health and wellness plans for our employees. Very nice job.
Thank you. Very good point.
Thank you. Good morning. Great job. I work in learning and development, so you're preaching to the choir here, so big thumbs up. One question I did have was, you know, you gave us the cost analysis as far as what an unproductive or unengaged associate costs, but for implementing this triangulated approach, what are the costs that would be associated with trying to get, you know, even if you're looking at just the frontline level, up to speed and engaged in all three of these areas?
As technology goes, all of those opportunities range from literally roughly $300 into the $65,000 and on up ranges. It really depends on how fancy you want to make your technology platform for your associates and how big it needs to be. So that's a variable. But again, it can be very inexpensive for a smaller company as well.
And for education, it will vary according to states. They are linked directly to community college. So in an average, it could be up to $2,000. But if you prepay your employees to go there, you will get half of the money refunded once they completed the program.
And emotional intelligence? As far as training for emotional intelligence, that's going to be dependent upon which method you choose. If you have an internal trainer, perhaps, that covers some kind of course, or if you actually bring in some kind of consultant, that's again going to be a variable. But as far as an actual total dollar, it's quite variable, depending on how grand and big you want to go.